This is Mike Loveday with studentsports.com, and I'm here with Crey Bankes. So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, Crey, and we'll kind of get the interview started.
All right, I'm Crey Bankes. I'm from Minneapolis, Minnesota. I go to the Blake School. I graduate in 2016, and I play defense. I committed to the University of Michigan.
Yeah, I guess when did you decide Michigan was the school for you?
I decided after I visited all the four colleges that I was looking at. I was looking at Bucknell, Marquette, Ohio State, and Michigan. I think Michigan really stuck out because I really weighed in academics to the big part of my school that I was going to choose. When I chose Michigan, my undergraduate degree that I want to do will be engineering or some type of science. And Michigan is one of the top 5 in the nation for these areas of study that I want to go into. And also the coaching staff and the team there are very home-like and family-like when I visited. Coach Paul has given out and received many verbal commitments from many top players around the country that have really showed interest to me and will really help his program grow in the next few years.
Talk a little bit. What's the recruiting process like? Obviously, you're 2016, so you've already mentioned, what your major is. I know when I was in high school, I don't think I was thinking about that when I was going into my sophomore year. So what was the recruiting process like for you? Just finishing your freshman year and kind of going into your sophomore year?
Yeah, the recruiting process was definitely exciting, but it's stressful at the same time. I mean, as you can imagine, every player has the dream of becoming a D1 athlete. This is really the exciting part, especially when multiple schools are looking at you. But it's very hard to just pick one. You need to evaluate all the aspects of the school. I evaluated the majors offered at the school, which was my top one, the athletic program, and also the coaching staff, as well as feeling like it was home there.
Yeah. So you said you visited 4 different schools through your process?
Yeah.
Did you do that this summer? Was that what you were doing this summer?
Yeah, I visited Michigan during spring break in my high school year, and then I visited the rest of the colleges in June and part of July.
Okay. And how much of Michigan recently going D1 kind of played an impact? I know when they first started, a lot of kids seemed pretty excited about the chance to start that program up. So how much of a factor did that play in for you and your decision?
I thought it was somewhat of a factor. I think it was actually a pretty good factor also because it tells you how they're doing and how they're looking into the future. Getting numerous players that are really good really helps their program, and I think that having a new program gives you more support from not only your alumni, but getting a lot of new kids that hopefully can help your program and make them better.
Yeah. And talk a little bit about what does it mean? I know Minnesota. I know over the past at least the past week, Minnesota's had a lot of kids going D1, especially from the 2015-2016 class. What does it kind of mean to you to be another one of those guys from Minnesota? Because it seems like there's a lot more attention being played to guys from your home state. Like, what does it kind of mean to you personally to be one of those guys to represent Minnesota?
I think it's really exciting. I think people out here really get hyped up about all sports, and lacrosse definitely is a new sport out here, and it's the fastest growing sport in the state, and just being one of those players I think is really helpful, and I get a lot of support from all of my teammates and my family, and I just think it's really fun to see just this sport grow out in the Midwest. Colleges, I think they should start looking out into the Midwest and, of course, the West Coast too. But the Midwest in general, I think the kids here have just a different style of play than most kids do. They play more physical and aggressive than the East Coast does. But I think overall, the Midwest is growing, and they'll soon be catching up with the East Coast in lacrosse.
Do you think the more physical style play, would that have anything to do with maybe some of the hockey background? I know Minnesota, probably hockey may be the number one thing people think about when they think Minnesota.
Yeah, hockey definitely plays a role in just the physical background. I play hockey, and I think that's what really helps my physical background of what, as well as with my aggressive play. But I think other sports also, like football, really help that too. Just playing, I think diversity in sports really helps the players and not just playing one sport, but getting an overall just sense of being on a team. And I think different sports also really help what impacts your game. Like for hockey, footwork is one of the main things that will impact somebody's game. And I think it really helps from all sports that will bring you all different aspects and assets into your game.
Yeah. Okay. You mentioned we've kind of talked a little bit about lacrosse and how it's grown in Minnesota. Talk a little bit about the Blake School and what you guys got coming back for next season, and kind of what the expectations are. I know it's a ways off at this point, but what the expectations are for the upcoming spring season.
Um, I'll just start off with last year. I think last year we had really good players. We were able to win the section title and then advance to the playoffs, the state playoffs. Major factors to our team success were just the skills of the lacrosse players, but mainly our team mentality really brought us to the state playoffs and got us wins and everything. And next year, I think we'll have definitely a better or the same team or even better. We have a lot of really good returning players that were sophomores and juniors from last year. And with all these kids coming together, I think we'll have a really good team in the 2014 season. And hopefully we can return to state and compete with the previous state champion.